about 6 months ago, I tallied up all of the subscriptions I had and realized I was spending way too much on subscriptions, like $2,000 on subscriptions a year. I cannot be spending $2,000 of subscriptions a year. And I decided that it was time to sort of start cutting off pretty much all of my subscriptions. There's a few I have left, but mostly I decided it's time to get rid of all of them, which was a sort of daunting task, but I have completed it now, and I'm coming to you to explain why and how I did it. Some of the subscriptions were relatively easy to quit. These were things that I just liked or didn't like or whatever, but they didn't need to be replaced with anything. A24 has this sort of membership thing where you get like 4 or 5 zines a year, you get discounts, you get early access to stuff, you get a birthday gift. I really like movies, and I bought it for a year just to like try it out. I enjoyed it, but end of the day, it's not worth the amount of money you're paying for it unless you're like obsessed with A24 and buying a ton of stuff anyways. The part of the reason I kept the subscription for as long as I did is because it's actually really hard to unsubscribe from it, or really weird. You have to email their customer service. There's no like button on their website, which I remembered that legally you have to make it as easy to unsubscribe as subscribe. So I was like, oh, they're breaking the law. You know, Lena Khan, the FTC did that. Turns out that's like been put on pause or rescinded or something like that, which I don't understand why you would do that. I feel like everyone would be pro that, except for like Planet Fitness specifically. Like, why would I don't know. Anyways, I emailed their customer support. I did get it. You know, my subscription ended. Easy. I also was subscribed to this Mindfulness app that was honestly not very good. It had a pretty like bad selection of meditations, like guided ones, in my opinion. The habit tracker like streak thing was kind of I felt like sometimes it didn't work, and there were way too many notifications. I would be in the middle of my morning meditation and it would ping me to tell me I should meditate in the morning. So I just decided to replace that with using a timer on my phone, an Excel sheet to track my like daily meditation thing to make sure I'm continue doing it. Obsidian, it's a note-taking app. You may have watched a bunch of videos like I did about having a second brain and study productivity, and got really hype about the idea of like supercharging your learning. It is not for me. I tried it for a long time. It just didn't work. I never went to it. The synchronization always seemed to be a little weird for me between my phone and my computers and stuff. And I like pen and paper, you know? So I went back to pen and paper. Codecademy. I am sure there are cheaper ways to learn about programming, but I found the course very helpful. That said, I finished the course I wanted to use, and I didn't particularly want to continue with other courses on their website. Easy, gone. Netflix just sucks now. I was like, oh, I'm gonna like lose. I watched a few movies that I was like, I really want to watch this, and it's on Netflix, and then I just dumped it because I feel like the selection is worse than when I first like subscribed to it in 2013 or whatever. Like almost all of their in-house like produced things are like garbage to put on your second screen while you're playing Baldur's Gate 3. I have plenty of free garbage to put on my second screen while I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 from YouTube. I don't need it. I don't need it. And Netflix is like, to watch without ads is $25 a month. That's $300 a year. I could buy like so many DVDs with that. And I've started to take the money that I was spending on Netflix and put it towards buying DVDs or renting movies or whatever that I actually want to see, which has like led to me being more intentional about what I'm choosing to watch. Because one of the other things with subscription is it's like renting, right? Like if you watch Netflix for 5 years, you will spend $1,500 and you will have nothing at the end of it if you choose to stop paying for Netflix. It tricks you because the value like seems really good $25 to watch as many movies as you want. And maybe if you are watching like a new movie every night and really getting something out of it, that would be great. But most people, I feel like, are not using it that way. They're putting on like the sort of garbagey kind of like slop entertainment stuff on in the background, which, like I said, there's plenty of free garbage online. And maybe you're watching like 2 or 3 interesting movies a month. I can easily buy 2 or 3 interesting movies, go to the movie theater a couple of times with $25. And what I found is that when I have to like think about what movies I'm going to watch and if I'm going to buy them, if I'm going to go to the library, which is also a great source of free entertainment, I care about what I'm picking out a little bit more than if I'm just scrolling through and being like, oh, they have this movie I've already watched 100 times. I guess I'll just throw that on so I can not pay attention to it. So all that easy stuff got me down to around $1,500 a year, which is nice. That $500 is a lot of groceries, but I knew I could do better. Last year, I got a subscription to this website called Artlist. It's a site where you get licensed music. I was using it for my YouTube channel. I used it a lot, and it is convenient, but it's not that important because before I had it, I was just doing it the old-fashioned way, typing lo-fi style beat free to use into YouTube, and then go to, YouTube to MP3 legitimate website.com.nz, risking the virus, downloading it, or like going to one of many free sites that have music, making music myself. This is all like a little bit harder than using Artlist to just like download the thing, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. And also at the end of last year, Artlist started to use AI, which I am against. Like pretty much all AI used for art. I can see its uses in some other cases maybe, but anything that's just like, we're going to generate a song, we're going to generate a painting, whatever, I think that that's all kind of garbage to me, and I don't really want to support it. Now we come to the big boy, because you might have been like, Joey, how are you spending $2,000 on subscriptions a year? And the main reason is I used Adobe all throughout college on their student license to make videos, to make films, to use Photoshop for my digital art. I used I can't even remember what the name of their audio recording software is because I stopped using it in favor of something else. But I used Adobe for like all my digital art making stuff. And after I left college, the cost ballooned, but I was sort of stuck in because I knew the programs really well. And so I didn't want to drop them. Adobe cost like $840 a year for me. And I was using it a lot. That's like, this one's harder because a lot of the things I dropped were things I just didn't use a ton, or that I didn't enjoy, or that I could easily replace with something free. Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, these things are not like this. I don't want to stop making videos. I need a drawing program. And those are largely subscription based. So for a while, I sort of felt like I was out of luck. Like, even if I wanted to switch off of Adobe, I'd just be on a different subscription model that I would have to relearn everything on. And then I saw this video by End Vertex, who has 5 perfect YouTube videos on their channel. And I recommend you close this tab and go watch all of their work instead first. But especially this video, in which they talked about something that I sort of had forgotten existed in the world of subscriptions and stuff, which is a perpetual license to software. So the Adobe license is a subscription where you pay every month and you have access to every version of the program as long as you continue to pay. So when, the new update of Adobe Photoshop comes out, it's automatically updated to your computer. But if you ever stop paying, you just immediately lose access. It's like renting the program. A perpetual license is more like buying the program. And it's more expensive. You spend a bunch of money up front, but you own it forever. And the company could put out a better new version that you wouldn't have access to. But theoretically, if you're happy with the current version and it's still working, you own the program. So I went around and I found a couple of programs to replace Adobe that do have perpetual licenses. That was the main thing I was looking for. Will they work? And do they have perpetual licenses? So I got DaVinci Resolve and Clip Studio Paint. DaVinci Resolve being a video editing program, Clip Studio Paint being a digital art program, sort of more specifically made for comics and animation and stuff, but it works for my purposes. Which together, buying the perpetual license for those was about $560, which is a lot. But remember, I was spending $840 a year on Adobe. So in reality, I'm saving a little shy of $300 this year, and then hopefully I won't have to spend any money on these programs for many years into the future because I just own them outright. I also previously used Squarespace for my personal website, which I wanted to get off of anyways. I wanted to be able to code my own stuff so I can make it weirder. That's why I did the Codecademy learning thing. What I've ended up doing is I put together a very basic site with the HTML that I've learned. I'm intending to improve on it because I also did a CSS class, but I just haven't gotten around to working on it. I am still paying for a custom domain name from Squarespace, but cutting out the website design element, the hosting, I'm hosting through GitHub pages now. The cost went from $192 a month down to like $20 a year, which is great. So I started off the project paying $2,026 a year in subscriptions. Wow, that's really fortuitous. It's 2026 now. I just realized that. I started off paying this $2,026 a year in subscriptions, and I've ended the project paying just $331, saving myself close to like $1,700 a year, which is huge. That's a lot of money for me anyways. But you may be wondering, what's the $331 in subscriptions I'm like keeping around? So there's before I mentioned the $20 I'm spending on a custom website domain name. Maybe check it out, josephsavilla.com. That's where all my art stuff going forward is going to be. I also do use two streaming services that I like. Dropout TV, which is a very focused, like small streaming, like comedy site. You've probably seen them around. You've seen them on the shorts. I like their shows. And it's a little bit more like, I don't feel like I'm like, oh, what is there to watch? Everything that they put out, I'm like interested to see. And my wife and I enjoy watching them together. At the end of the day, I think the $60 a year is probably worth it, even just to watch Dimension 20. But I love Game Changer. I love Make Some Noise. I like all the shows that are on it. And there's not a million shows that are going to waste my time scrolling through. I also have a $48 subscription a year to the Shonen Jump app. I love manga. I'm part of the generation that woke up at like 5 a.m. to watch Inuyasha before going to school. I just like it. I buy manga too, but I was starting to feel bad about, I was reading a lot of illegal manga on like websites online, and I want mangakas, authors to make money. So I'm trying to get it through legit means. Those all I'm happy to pay, but there is still one subscription I hate. One more foe to be vanquished. The final subscription.